much he was there to gain from the others, it was very clear that everyone gained from Nick. A couple of years ago, I reached out to Nick personally when I needed assistance. And that was when I really saw Nick in action. He was responsive, clear-headed, filled with compassion, and ready to act. Nick shares the IBD Support Foundation vision of providing the best psychosocial care to as many patients as possible. He shares the vision that IBDSF should guide the country on what psychosocial care really means, and he is committed to being involved on our board of directors to help make sure that all of that happens. Nick is supported by his loving wife, Kathy, and as with all of the spouses of IBD sufferers, Kathy shows her support each day, each week, and each year, and stands behind Nick tonight as he gets the public recognition. And since we all know that behind every great man is an even greater woman, Kathy, know that you're equally deserving of tonight's honor. Nick, you and I have shared some very unique experiences with IBD. We have both seen the very best and the very worst of medicine. And that unique perspective makes you an incredibly valuable member of the IBDSF board. When we select honorees each year, we choose people who've been impacted by IBD, those who have struggled, and those who have triumphed. Those determined to utilize their pain to ease the pain of others. Nick, you face your disease with quiet strength and determination and dignity, and I'm so honored to call you a friend. Please join me on the stage so Adam and I can present you with the IBD Support Foundation's 7th Annual Community Inspiration Award.
Thank you, Marcy, and thank you all for being here. It's hard to follow Bossy up here. Speaker. It's better than a 40-year-old. She's 14. So, I was 23 and in college, just out of college, between college and law school, working in Warner Brothers, living a very charmed life. It was Christmas, 1996. I was on a date with a beautiful tall blonde. We went out for sushi, drinks. I had big plans for this night. And all of a sudden, my stomach just started cramping. And it was unlike anything I'd ever felt. I cut the date short, rushed back to my apartment, doubled over, and I was bleeding and vomiting for 3 straight weeks. Moved back in with my parents, went to Cedars, spent 2 weeks there, went on disability, which is not something I wanted to do. I was sick until January 1st, 1999. 3 years. Then I was in remission. New medications had come out, thanks in large part to Dr. Sanborn and other great doctors. And during that time, I went through law school, passed the bar, married Kathy, and went on my honeymoon. And then in the summer of 2007, on a fateful night, about a month into my marriage, my mother-in-law served ahi ceviche. And that was it. I was sick again. There we go. I didn't seek out IBDSF or even understand its importance until I attended this event 6 years ago at the prompting of my mother-in-law. At that time, I had 2 brothers who had had ulcerative colitis and surgery to fix it. and parents who had now gone through IBD with 3 children, 3 sons out of 4. And so I felt I had a built-in support group within my family. And then I was brought here, and I realized that I needed IBDSF, because going through life with IBD is a little like walking around with a guillotine over your head. You feel great one day or 1 minute, and you're in a complete remission, but you know you can't get too comfortable because the guillotine may drop, and you may get sick for a day, a week, a year, or the rest of your life. And that's just the reality of this. And your sickness is going to involve major operations and crazy medications with horrible side effects, and there's a lot of uncertainty there. And going through life with that tension is extremely difficult, and you need outlets. And your family cannot be enough, and they cannot be expected to deal with that constantly. And so even the finest doctors in the world are great at finding cures and research and operating, but until very recently, they couldn't relate to the fears heading into surgery or concerns about what to tell significant others about the illness, the daily travails of life in school, that Bossy just described, having a social life, and the support group like IBDSF is critical to discussing things like family and medication and pains and aches and relationships and the upside to all of this. You can meet people like Ben who are incredibly successful and have IBD. And so when I was at my sickest, I would not miss an IBDSF young adult group. There's something about shared experiences and getting help and giving help within a circle of trust that's very satisfying and healing. And I listened to business owners, students, actors, directors, lawyers, doctors, all with this illness, all persevering no matter what. And also critically important is that the pediatric support groups here see that IBD is not an excuse to stop living or even change paths. When I was first diagnosed in '97, I hadn't yet gone to law school. And my doctor at the time, who was Jean Perot at Mayo Clinic, pointed out to me that Dwight Eisenhower managed the presidency and World War II all while fighting Crohn's disease. And if he could manage that, I could manage law school and the bar. And so I look at kids with this illness who don't have older siblings like I do. My older brothers, all have this now, shockingly. Clearly, diarrhea runs in the genes. I look at people who don't have doctors like I had and don't have the older siblings and feel that we must do everything that we can to keep kids from selling themselves short. And while this disease is brutal and indiscriminate, it doesn't have to change our lives, and this organization is critical to achieving that end. And so Marcy and IBDSF give children and young adults with IBD the safest possible forum to come together and see that life goes on. And when you're down and looking at years of surgeries and suffering, seeing what's on the other side can help pull you through and keep you going. So with that, I'd like to say thank you to Marcy, Adam, Kristen, my sister-in-law Melissa, my mother-in-law Joan, and everyone on the dinner committee for making tonight so successful. I want to thank my family members, friends, co-workers in this room, and all who have been incredibly supportive of me and IBDSF. Your generosity is greatly appreciated and will never be forgotten. I'm quite aware that there are many causes and charitable organizations, and I'm deeply touched that you're here on a Tuesday night in February helping a cause that you have no direct connection to in many instances. My parents are likely in the annals of IBD history as the only people with 4 offspring, all of whom have ulcerative colitis. Mom and Jer, you were incredibly helpful to me in my various times of need, and I know how tough it is emotionally on you to be here tonight. My mom has literally been at the side of 3 sons going into surgery for ulcerative colitis, all with very uncertain outcomes, and her bravery and tenacity is legendary and gave us all access to the greatest doctors in the world, including Dr. Sanborn when he was at Mayo Clinic. Thankfully, my wife Kathy did not run for the hills when I told her on our third date that I had colitis and that one day I would likely be hospitalized because of this illness. And at a time when she should have been enjoying the joy of taking care of our newborn Oscar, instead she was by my side for 2 operations along with Oscar. And Kathy, you're very brave, and I cannot thank you enough. My friends, Gideon, Hansu, Adam, I was just reminded of the 1998 NFL playoffs that I watched from a hospital room having eaten nothing but ice chips for 2 weeks. I had friends visiting nonstop during those days, and I'm grateful to this day to have you, especially during those very tough times. Marcy, I'm proud to be a part of your team, to stand with you and offer my help as you continue to change people's lives. I'm so grateful for your guidance and friendship. Thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate it more than you know. Good night. Nick Rozansky